There's a big buzz right now surrounding J.P. Crawford. We're going to have J.P.'s comments in a sec, but Ariel, fill us in on all the news surrounding J.P. Crawford right now.
Yeah, well, starting with pregame yesterday, J.P. took fielding drills at third before he was a late scratch from his tricep soreness. Remember, he got pelted with the ball. After the game, he spoke with us in the clubhouse and said he approached the team himself and offered to play third base in order to stay on the field, knowing shortstop is probably being handed off to Colt Emerson.
Terry, that's what leaders do, right?
It is. It is. I know you look at what's best for the team rather than best for yourself. And I think he's looking at the future of this team, and he understands that the future of this team is going to be to have Colt in the mix. And so he knows that I'm going to move to third. Colt's going to step in at shortstop. And we're actually making this for the future. I'm looking at the young infield right now. Yeah. That's the future of the Mariners.
But at the same time, you got to look at the present. You mentioned it on this show yesterday. You need JP in that lineup right now the way he's hitting the ball.
Yeah, you need him in the lineup for the way he's hitting the ball. You also need him for his veteran leadership, and you're definitely going to hear some veteran leadership when you hear him talk after the game. But you need his bat. He's a great leadoff hitter. If he's not leading off, I actually really liked Cole Young there. We'll get to that. But I want his bat in the lineup. If he's going to be at third, that's great. I think a lot of defensive changes could be on the horizon for this team. And he started his career at third, by the way.
That he did. And JP, as I mentioned, trending on social media for his comments. King 5 TV was there. Here is JP on the conversation he had with Dan Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it just came up in the thought of my head, and you know, I want to be a Mariner for life, and I think that's the best way to do it. And you know, just always being open to helping the team win.
How long has this been on your thought process to being open to doing that?
I'm not really too sure. It's been on my mind, not for a while, but I mean, I've been thinking about it.
There's some conversations with family and your wife or anyone kind of help you get to this point too, or what was that kind of process like?
No, me and my agent talked about it. We had a good conversation and seen a lot more positive thoughts about it. So, you know, why not give it a try, give it a thought.
All right, why not give it a try? J.P. Crawford has become one of the fan favorites over the years. He is very popular in the clubhouse. This is where it's tough, though, when you're involved with sports and when you are a general manager and running a team. I look back to the year when Matt Hasselbeck, Marcus Trufant, Lofa Tatupu, these were big stars in Seattle. John Schneider comes into town and says, thanks for playing here, but it's time to move on. I'm not saying it's time to move on from JP. We just heard from Ariel. I think what JP is doing, his on-base percentage, one of the best on the team. You need that in a lineup that some nights only gets one hit, so JP deserves to be in this lineup. I agree. We'll see how the experiment goes at third base. But to hear the emotions, Terry, to hear, you know, he wants to be here in Seattle.
Yeah, you can tell in his voice that he really means this. He's really passionate, not just about this team, but I think he's really passionate about Seattle and the community that we have here and the things that he's been able to do here, that he's been able to build here, and the fan base has been really supportive of him. So I think we're going to get a chance to see him switch positions to third base. And again, I think that's just going to open up room for the rest of that infield. I think it's going to be the future of the infield, allowing our young superstar to get a chance to step in there and play that shortstop. And again, I think he's going to be here for the long haul. I think he loves Seattle. He mentioned that he loves Seattle, and Seattle loves him back.
Yeah, and I say this with absolutely no shade, but the Mariners have one of the worst defensive fielding percentages in the entire league right now. And a lot of that, or a few of those mistakes, were from J.P. Crawford at shortstop. So improving that shortstop position with Colt Emerson, I think it's actually a great idea. Putting him to third base, you can move Brendan Donovan to the outfield. I think you need to take Randy Arozarena out of the outfield. Yeah. Put him as a DH. There's a lot of different movements you can do to really improve this team defensively, and obviously all of them are going to be in the lineup.
You talk about those defensive stats, JP, and then you move over to third base. Brendan Donovan had several of those errors early on in the season, and then you go to left field, and several of them from Randy Arozarena. So it could be, you know, a snowball effect.
Exactly.
You move JP there, Donovan to the outfield, Randy Arozarena in the lineup, DH. He has to stay there.